What is going on, you guys? This is Ogg1 on the PS4, and I'm going to be giving you guys another Recon Breakpoint video. And the video I'm going to be giving you guys is going to be my top 3 ARs, and this is going to be for both standard and optimal ARs. Yes, you guys are going to also hear the background fan, not the background, my PS4 fan, it's kind of like starting up now, just because I'm not in my menu. When I'm in my menu, it'll kind of cool down. But anyways, the way this is going to work, the rating system, is it's going to be based off of the top 3 standard weapons and the top 3 optimal weapons. Optimal meaning weapons that are elite weapons with the right mods and whatnot. I'm not necessarily going to be explaining what mods to use, but because the mods really just comes down to your own preference and how you feel the weapons should have. Now, also, what I would want to let you guys know, keep in mind, is I do have all the weapons pretty much maxed out. Not all of them are fully maxed. There's a few of them that are just like 1 or 2 upgrades away from being maxed, but they all are at MK3, and I've used all of them. Another thing that I want to mention is this is my own top 3. It's not necessarily the top 3 all for everybody list. You know, everyone has their own preference. Even the worst weapon the weapon that I think may be the worst might be the best weapon for somebody else. So it just comes down to preference. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So right away, I'm just going to go ahead and go into the weapons sheet and show you guys all the weapons that you can have. Now, first of all, I'm not going to be going over any of the weapons that you can unlock in the battle rewards because I am unfortunately missing the 416 special, MK17 assault, and obviously the M4 assault. I do have the AK-74 scout. Another weapon I will not be going over that is not going to be put on this list is going to be exclusive weapons. So things that come from the Ubisoft Club or things that come from the pre-order bonuses. And you guys are probably going to hear my brother in the background squealing like a little pig. Just kidding, he's a little baby, he's 2 years old. But anyways, yeah, so I'm not gonna be going over things like the M4A1 assault or the, where is it? I forgot what weapon it was. AK something assault, or was it the Ogg Assault? Pretty sure it's the Ogg Assault. Let me just look one more time real quick. It is the AK-74 Scout. Oh, but that's a DMR, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I'm not going to be going over the M4A1 Assault Valor. That's the only thing that I'm not going to go over. Alright, anyways, so first things first is I'm just going to go ahead and show you everything that each blueprint has, or each weapon offers. So the SE20K, I already have this one equipped, and well, in my inventory, because SE20K is definitely my most favorite AR in the game. It is a very high damaging weapon. DPS wise, the SE20K does have the most DPS because it is 32 damage per bullet with 850 rounds per second, but it does have a long reload time at 3.5 seconds. It doesn't have this much range. The range is about halfway. The handling is way less. It's under 50. So this definitely, to me, wouldn't be in the top 3 for standards, but definitely in the top 3 for optimal ARs. The mobility is also on the low end, but the recoil is pretty good. It's not too bad. And then passive-wise, you get the after a kill, you get plus 10 reload speed, same, and then you get plus 1 mobility after a kill, and then plus 10 handling after a kill. So the passives aren't too bad. Next up is the 416. So the 416 isn't bad at all. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's pretty well balanced. It does offer more in accuracy and not the range, but mainly accuracy and mobility. But actually, it's kind of hard to tell now because I didn't even realize I had these bonuses. But it is, I guess it is a pretty well balanced weapon. Accuracy is where it shines the most. Its DPS isn't nowhere near as the MK17 because damage per bullet this is less and the rounds per minute is less, but it is faster in reload. Overall, you do have higher mobility though with this weapon. And then for the passives, it's pretty much the same thing. Plus 10 after a kill, reload speed, plus 1 mobility after a kill, and plus 10 handling after a kill. Next up is the AK-47. AK-47 is supposedly one of the top tier weapons from what someone told me that they preferred using the AK because it, I guess, has more damage. But in reality, if you look at the stats, it doesn't. It has 32 damage per bullet, just like the SC20K, but DPS wise, it is 250 rounds per minute less. So DPS wise, you're going to be doing less DPS, just because that RPM is way lower. But it does have a 0.25 second faster in the reload time. It's pretty good in accuracy, but handling wise, it's really not that great. And in range, it's actually really nice. Mobility and the recoil. So the handling and recoils on the AK-47s aren't that good. But you get plus 5 damage after a kill. So you basically go up to plus 37 per bullet, and then plus 1 mobility after a kill, and plus 10 handling after a kill. Next up is the 5.53. So the 5.53 is a very, very well balanced weapon, as you can see. When it comes to damage, RPM isn't that great at 700, 27 damage per bullet, but the stats itself are very well balanced. These three being over the 50 mark, while mobility being under and recoil just being a little under the 50 mark. The passives, you have plus 10 reload speed on kill, plus 1 mobility after a kill, and plus 10 handling after a kill. Next is the G36C. G36C is also a very, very well balanced weapon in these stats. For accuracy, handling, mobility, and recoil, those are all 50 and above. Range seems to be at about 50 or maybe a little under 50. But the damage per bullet is only 22 with the 750 RPM, so DPS wise it is very lower than the SC20K. I'm just using SC20K as a comparison of DPS because it is the top tier DPS weapon in the game, in my opinion, other than the M4A1 Assault Valor. That one is the top DPS weapon, but that's not something that everyone can unlock, so that's not going to be put in this list. The 2.95 reload speed, though, is really nice, making this one of the faster reload time weapons. You get plus 10 reload speed after a kill, plus 1 mobility after a kill, and plus 10 handling after a kill. Next up is the MK17. So as you can see, I don't have it fully maxed out because I'm just missing this one. But the MK17 is, I wouldn't say it's very well balanced, but damage-wise per bullet is good. DPS-wise, it is not, because it is one of the lowest DPS weapons when it comes to, not DPS, but RPMs weapons. DPS-wise, it's not too bad. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you go for headshots, but I'm just going more along the lines of DPS towards the behemoths or something, to drones. Accuracy is not its best, neither is handling. Handling is actually very, very low. And I think it's probably just as bad as AK-47. Maybe the AK-47 is a little bit higher in handling, or about the same. But it does shine really, really well in the range area, being one of the better ranged weapons. If you were to technically turn this into a single shot by, just aiming in, pressing up on your D-pad, so that way you can turn it into a DMR. It is a really strong DMR, but in that case, you might as well just use an actual DMR like the MK17 or the or not 17, MK14, or use the I can't even remember the other MKs or the DMRs, but there are other DMRs. G28 Scout, that's what it is. So you might as well use the G28 or the MK14 if you want to use a DMR. But accuracy and handling is just very, very low on the MK17. The passives you get on it, though, is plus 10 reload speed after a kill, plus 1 mobility after a kill, and plus 10 handling after a kill. Up next is the AK-12. So just like my other weapons, I don't have this fully upgraded because I'm just missing these two. But the AK-12 does have a really high fire rate and a really fast reload, but really low damage. It is a very well balanced weapon as well. As you can see, accuracy is the lowest, but handling and range looks like it's a little under the 50, probably like 47, 48 out of 100. And then recoil looks like it's about 50, and then or about the same as range. I don't know, handling, range, and recoil looks all to be the same, and then mobility being the only one above the 50 mark. The passives you get on here is plus 5 damage, after a kill, so you go from 22 to 27 damage, and then you get +1 mobility after a kill and +10 handling after a kill. Next up is the A2. So the A2, I wouldn't say it's very well balanced, but it isn't unbalanced. It's kind of like the MK17 in a sense, but it does have higher accuracy and higher handling, lower range, and less damage, but higher RPM. So DPS-wise, A2 and the MK17 are pretty similar. They have the same reload speed, I believe, 3.25, but the A2 isn't that terrible of a weapon, in my opinion. I actually enjoyed using this for a little bit when I was testing it out, but I think it's just, I don't know, I don't really know how to put the words together. I just don't think it's gonna be a top 3 contender for sure. Passive bonuses, it gives +10 reload speed after a kill, +1 mobility after a kill, and +10 handling after a kill. Next up is going to be the Ogg. So my Ogg is not fully maxed as well, just like the other weapons, a few other weapons. All I'm missing is just the last metal parts for the range, extra +1 range, which isn't going to be that big of an increase. But anyways, as you can see, the range is increased by so much on the Ogg. I think the Ogg has one of the highest ranges in the AR genres. As you can see, I don't have any range mods on here either. Maybe I do have ranged attachments, I believe. Oh yeah, the Malda, actually, I think that pushes the range. So it would probably be about halfway or a little less. But the mobility without the +30 would probably be about right here. And then accuracy, handling isn't that bad. The accuracy looks like it's a little above the 50 mark, where the handling is probably around the 40, 39, 35-ish area. I'd say about 40. The 40 mark, but yeah, 32 damage per bullet and then 680 rounds per minute with a 3.5 second reload time. So DPS wise, it's not as great as the SC20K. Reload time is the same though, and damage per bullet, just not the RPM. Now for the passives, you get +10 reload speed after a kill, +1 mobility after a kill, and +10 handling after a kill. Seems like most of these weapons have the same exact talents, honestly. Anyways, the Tavor is a very, very, very well balanced weapon in terms of the stats. As you can see, accuracy is very high, one of the most accurate ARs in the game. Handling is also above average, which is past the 50 mark. Range is the least on here, but it's not terrible at all. And then mobility is is above average. I was gonna say very high, but no, I'd say it's definitely above average. And then recoil is also really well as well. The damage per second, or the DPS, the damage per bullet, and RPM is where it really lacks in. It doesn't have a high amount of damage, so I would definitely go with the Tavor if you were to just clear camps. But for behemoth fights, probably not something I would recommend using. As in or not necessarily behemoths, but drones in general, because it just doesn't have a high enough DPS to drop those drones out quick enough. And then the passives, you get +10 reload speed after a kill, +1 mobility after a kill, and +10 handling after a kill. Next up is the M4A1. So the M4A1 was definitely one of my most favorite weapons in the game. It does have a decent accuracy, low handling, decent range, decent, a little under average mobility, and not great recoil. The only reason why this was one of my most favorite weapons in the game is because the DPS on this is nice. I would say it is a huge contender DPS-wise against the SC20K. With the right stats or right bonuses, this can definitely compete a lot with the SC20K. SC20K, though, does have better handling and recoil than the M4A1. And I believe it has probably the same or a little bit better in the range area. But reload time, M4A1 is faster. The passives you get on the M4A1 is the +10 reload speed after kill, +1 mobility after kill, and +10 handling after a kill. Next up is the 805 Bren. So the 805 Bren is also a very well balanced weapon, AR. As you can see, the accuracy and the range are at the average. Handling is above average, making this weapon one of the best or one of the better weapons to use handling wise. Mobility, it isn't so high, but you really don't need to worry too much about the mobility. And then the recoil is very good as well. DPS wise, it's not bad, not terrible, but it seems about above average actually, because you have 27 damage per bullet, 760 RPM, and then you also have under 3-second reload time as well, making it DPS overall, I guess, just consistent damage much better than something like the SC20K, because of the fact that you are reloading faster than the SC20K is. And then the passive bonus you get is plus 5 damage after a kill, which actually pushes this even more. So 27. So you're doing what? 30? That's 32, I believe, right? 32 or 33? 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Yeah, 32 damage. So after you get a kill, you're equal to about the SC20K in DPS, almost equal. It's just the RPM isn't as fast. And then you get plus 1 mobility, and you get plus 10 handling after a kill. Up next is the VHS D2. VHS D2 seems to be one of the most popular weapons in PvP from what I've noticed, and just in general. A lot of people seem to really like this weapon, and I can see why. It is a very, very well balanced weapon with one of the highest accuracies as well. Not one of the highest, but it is above average. The accuracy is probably around where the range is as well, probably a little less than where the range is currently. The only reason why it shows the accuracy is at its max is because I have plus 30 on the accuracy. The plus 10% reload speed doesn't actually affect the reload time stat sheet, so it doesn't really matter too much. But there is a 10% reload speed increase. But yeah, everything is very well balanced with recoil, range, and accuracy above average, well above average actually, at range being at a high amount, handling being at average to a little above, just a little slightly above average, and mobility at the average mark. So everything is basically 50 or higher in the stat sheet. 27 damage per bullet and 750 RPM, making this a pretty decent DPS weapon with 3.5 second reload time. So it is pretty long in the reload. Not too long, but it's not quick enough. You do get plus 10 reload speed after a kill, and then plus 1 mobility, and then plus 10 handling after a kill. Up next is the AK-74. So the AK-74 is one of the, just like the other AKs, has a very, very good range stat. The accuracy and the handling is actually really decent on the AK-74. Mobility is pretty alright. It's a little under average, and the recoil is actually really good on the AK-74. Damage-wise, damage per bullet is good. RPM-wise, it's not so great at 650, but it is a pretty decent reload speed at 3.2 seconds. And then for the passive bonuses, you have plus 10 reload speed, you got plus 1 mobility, and plus 10 handling, all of those after a kill. Next up is the 516, or the 516. So the 516 is definitely the most well-balanced weapon in the game. In comparison to any other weapon in the game, it is the most balanced, because everything as well is above the 50, maybe just not the range. I think the range is like a 49.9 something, I don't know. It's just barely off from the 50 mark, but accuracy, handling, mobility, and recoil are all above the 50 mark, or 50 and higher. And I mean, honestly, if you wanted to just if you wanted to get certain stats on this, for the 2 stats I would recommend is like accuracy and handling, or just handling in general, because accuracy is already really good. But handling, increasing the accuracy and handling on this would make this weapon turn into a laser. It is 800 RPM, but it is also 22 damage per bullet. So it is not a top tier DPS weapon, but it is a very, very good standardized weapon. On all the passives as well, you get plus 10 reload speed, plus 1 mobility, and plus 10 handling as well, all after a kill. Next up is going to be, not the M4A1 Assault, the Ogg Assault. And the Ogg Assault is okay. It's kind of like the regular Ogg, but I believe this one just does a little more damage. I'm pretty sure. Let me just look at the Ogg. 32. They're both at 32. So I'm not really sure what the differences are. One has high range, slow reload. I don't know what the reload is, but the reload honestly seems the same. They're both at 3.5. Yeah, this one just seems to have higher range than the Ogg Assault. Yeah, so I don't really think the Ogg Assault is that big of a difference. When it says higher power, I think it just means it might have higher damage in general, but to me, it doesn't really seem that different at all. They both have the same damage per bullet. They have the same RPM. This one just has less range. It seems like it has less handling as well than the other one. So to me, the Ogg Assault isn't as great as the regular Ogg in terms of the stat sheet. The passive bonuses you get on here is plus 10 reload speed, plus 1 mobility, and plus 10 handling after a kill. Next up is the Silver Stake Tactical. So Silver Stake Tactical is basically a DMR. It's an AR, but it's a single shot, so semi-auto. With the semi-auto though, you get accuracy. It is a signature weapon, so all these stats you're going to see are just stats you get. You get accuracy, which is actually really nice, but like I said, it is a semi-auto, so the accuracy is bound to be really good. Handling is not that great, and it sucks that you can't adjust it because it's pretty low, which in return makes the recoil really low. The mobility is pretty low as well. Range is not as great as I would have expected it to be, but it is at pretty high. Where this weapon really shines though is the damage per bullet is 37. DPS wise though, it's really low because the RPM is 450, making this the slowest weapon. It doesn't, now you basically can pull the trigger, just go boom 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 boom, but it's not as fast as just holding down the trigger on the SC20K and goes brrr. I know I'm making sound effects, it's weird, whatever. The reload speed isn't bad though, 3.15, making it a pretty decent reload speed. Now all the passives you get on here, you get plus 10 reload speed, plus 1 mobility, and plus 10 handling. I think this weapon would have definitely been way better DPS wise if it did give you that plus 5 damage after a kill. I think that would have been way better. And the last weapon is the 416 Shorty. So the 416 Shorty is just like the 416, but it's shorter range and there's less recoil, making this weapon really good for a class like the Panther, so you don't really have to worry about you're not having to actually go around and, I guess, kill snipers from wherever. This is just it's a CQC weapon, basically. That's what it says, close quarter combat weapon. Shorter range, less recoil. It's the same damage, same RPM, everything, but it's just the range is shorter, recoil and handling is just better. The passive bonuses you get on here, you get the plus 10 reload speed, and you get the plus 1 mobility and plus 10 handling all after a kill. So that's all the weapons that are on the blueprint. Now I'm going to go over the top 3. So we're going to get into my top 3 AR builds, or ARs. So the top 3 standard ARs are going to be the 5.53, 805 Bren, and the VHS D2. And the reason why I chose the 805 as one of them is because it is a very well balanced weapon in terms of the stats, as well as DPS wise. It is pretty good with a really good reload time as well, making this weapon just a very good weapon overall for any class, to be honest. As you can see, it says best damage handling combo in class. Best damage, no. DPS wise, no. But it is a great standard weapon, overall weapon for anyone that just picks this up, for basically beginners. That's what the top 3 standard weapon is for. It's for people who are just looking for standard weapons, or not standard, but not necessarily optimal weapons. And then the 805 Bren, the reason why I chose that is because of the same reason. Oh, wait, I already did the 805 Bren. The 553. The reason why I chose the 553 is the same reason why I chose the 805 Bren, is because of the balance between the accuracy, range, and handling on this. And then the recoil is also really good. The only downfall is the mobility isn't as great as the other weapons, but it's still not bad. Where you're at 27 damage per bullets, 700 RPM, and 2.9 in the reload time, which is very similar to the 805 Bren. So damage wise, DPS wise, they are very, very easily compared to each other. And the other one, the VHS D2, the reason why I chose this is just like the other two. It's very close in its stats, and it's very easy to adjust to this weapon. The only downfall about this is the fact that it does have a 3.5 second cooldown, 3.5 second reload time. I guess you could say cooldown. But, you know, aside from that, those three are my top 3 standard weapons. Now, for my top 3 optimal AR weapons, my ARs are going to be the SC20K, the 416 or 416, and the M4A1. So the SC20K, the reason why this is my #1 top picked weapon in the game for ARs is because the DPS is really high. 32 damage per bullet, 850 rounds per minute, and then you also have a pretty good accuracy, so you don't really need to focus on putting accuracy on here. As long as you can have handling on here, then you can really, as long as you have handling on this weapon, is all I'll say. You can go with damage to drones, you can go with extra accuracy, so you can basically shoot like laser, go with that extra range for the extra that less bullet drop, go with more mobility so you run faster, the extra cooldown reduction for your techniques class abilities. Really anything works as long as you have the handling, because as long as you add the handling to this weapon basically beats any other weapon DPS wise. And then for the 416, so where is that? Right up here. The 416 is a very nicely well balanced weapon, just like the others, but to me it just seems just better overall with the stats. There are a few things that I would definitely change though, which would be accuracy and handling, or not accuracy, handling for sure, and the range would be the only two downfall about this weapon, which is why I didn't make it on the top 3 standards list. But as long as you add the range and the handling, this weapon is really good. Its accuracy is so nice, and the mobility is already about average. If it'll probably be around here. DPS wise, it isn't as amazing as the other, like the SC20K, but it's still a good weapon. I think I would definitely use this. I mean, I do use this. This is definitely one of my most favorite weapons as well. And then the last pick is the M4A1. Now, I would have definitely put the M4A1 Assault Valor, because I'm just going to show you guys why. M4A1 Assault Valor, 32 damage per bullet, 950 rounds per minute, and it's also not a signature weapon. So if you get this as an elite weapon and you get handling and accuracy on this weapon, this becomes the best weapon in the game. It's much, much better than the SC20K. Because it's a faster reload time and faster RPM as well. It's just the handling and accuracy is pretty bad, really bad, which is why the SC20K is a really good replacement, and that's why I also did not put the M4A1 Assault Valor on this list. But the M4A1 is also a very, 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 very good pick. It competes well enough with the SC20K. Accuracy and handling is not bad at all. Handling, all you have to, if optimal stats would be to put the handling, so the handling, if it is an elite weapon, would go about the 70-ish mark, 70 out of 100 mark, and then I would just go ahead and put on, I wouldn't really worry about accuracy, because accuracy on this weapon is already good, but handling and possibly mobility, the reason why mobility is probably going to be really good with this weapon is because I personally like having mobility on fast fire rate weapons, but DPS wise, like I said, this weapon will compete because it's not far off with the damage per bullet compared to the SC20K, but the RPM is so high, definitely what is the highest RPM out of all the ARs, with a really nice reload speed. But that is pretty much it with this video. Hopefully this helped you guys out. If it did, go ahead and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or concerns, let me know down in the comment section, and I'll try my best to answer them to the best of my ability. And yeah, so also if you have any questions or suggestions, let me know down in the comment section as well. So that's pretty much it with this video. Like I said, if it helped you out, leave a like, comment, subscribe. This is All Day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.